black man. And now I'm going to read it to you again, just like I read it. Just like I read it for Jack here. A lying piece of garbage. Now get Jeremiah 14 and 2 again, because we out here for our people. That's just like I told Jack. And since I'm not trying to insult you, I'm trying to educate you a little bit. You understand? I'm not trying to insult you. You ever heard of tough love? I know you never received it before in your life because you're so used to simp niggas catering to your every emotion. You understand? But we're up here as prophets of the Lord. And the Bible says to cry loud and spare not. You understand? I'm going to show you why I'm a prophet. It's because I know the scriptures and you don't.
Read the book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, verse 2. Judah mourning.
Now, do you know as much to say that Christ was from the tribe of Judah? Do you know? He's going to read it. He's going to read it. Do you know that Christ was from the tribe of Judah? Do you know that Christ was from the tribe of Judah? Okay, so this scripture says that Judah's in mourning. Why Judah's in mourning? Because black people are killed all over the earth. I'm going to keep reading for you, no problem.
14:1 literally tells you why Judah is in mourning.
14:1, the word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah concerning the drought.
What's the reason? The drought. It literally says why, but watch what his reason is.
Do you know that Christ was from the tribe of Judah? Okay, so this scripture says that Judah's in mourning. Why Judah's in mourning? Because black people are killed all over the earth.
Is that why Judah is in mourning?
Not according to the text.
Yeah, so that's number one. Judah's in mourning specifically here because of the drought. This shows you these guys don't know the Bible. They know one West proof text. Just like Jehovah's Witnesses know Watchtower literature, these guys know YouTube videos from their leaders.
The book of Jeremiah, chapter 14, verse 2. Judah mourning, and the gates thereof languish.
Now, this is talking about the tribe of Judah. Judah is in mourning. To languish means to be weak. And you use a gate outside your house to keep what's out and what's in. Now, read.
They are black.
They are what?
They are black.
Judah is what?
They are black.
Spell black.
B-L-A-C-K.
Yeah, I just want to say that it was interesting to me that they felt the need to spell black, and so I was like, well, why don't we just go ahead and spell mourning too, if that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, and then spell context and cult and eisegesis.
Yeah, this is something that we've said, certainly not just with ISCPK, but just in general. Context is a word that we know, for the most part, that Hebrew Israelites weren't acquainted with until apologists started saying it to them. And sometimes you can tell that people still don't know what context means. There's no way you can get the context of a scripture verse by reading two words, the first two words of a scripture from a chapter, and you missed the first verse as well, where the context was broadly given. So, just generally speaking, context is not a strength.
And don't forget, of course, verse 1 says, the word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah concerning the drought. So he was wrong from the gate. Her nobles send their servants for water. They come to the cisterns. They find no water. They return with their vessels empty. They are ashamed and confounded and cover their heads. So look, they can't get water here. So again, what's it about? Drought.
Mm-hmm.
Can't get water. This is an exact, and it continues on. It explains it. Because of the ground that is dismayed. So it's telling you why. Since there is no rain on the land, their farmers are ashamed. They cover their heads. Now I'm going to stop for a second. Notice how there's a tragedy here that's befallen Judah and the people of Jerusalem, right? And it's a famine. And so this is the context in which they get the KJV rendering. But the context should let you know, well, what does it mean by that? Because there's something going on here. This is concerning the dearth. That's an old KJV way to say drought or famine, right? Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are blackened to the ground. So somebody should, first of all, say, okay, what is the they referring to? That's something that you should find out. What is blackened to the ground? But then they should find out what all the words mean. Because in the context, if you read it, it's about this famine going on. It'd be strange all of a sudden for Jeremiah to be like, oh, by the way, they're black. Like make a comment on morphology. You see what I'm saying? In regards to the way someone looks or something. Especially that's odd. Unto the ground. That I don't talk. Does anyone talk about anyone that way? You know what I mean? No one says like, Mr. Magic. This is a local artist here in Phoenix. It was Mr. Magic is brown into the ground. You know what I mean? Modest Yahoo is white into the ground.
What we're doing is we're giving you Christ's color.
Okay, her people, that's actually not in the Hebrew. If you look down here, where I have my cursor, this is the interlinear part of the ESV on Logos. It's 2 dots because the word her people the phrase is supplied by the translators. That's why in the KJV it says they. So they and her people are actually not in the Hebrew text. It's applied to explain to you it's pointing back to something. But it does start with this right here, lament, which that's the word translated black in the KJV. It's kadar, and it literally means to mourn or to grieve. And that's why, as Dinu said, can you spell mourning? So she's giving the correct, alternate, proper translation, which is mourning. What happens when you're in mourning? It's as if your face becomes darkened. That's what it's describing. That's what it's saying. And there's even Old English dictionaries you'll see where it'll say black or blackened, and it's
so if a white person becomes depressed, does his face become dark? If he's in mourning because his mom died, a so-called self-proclaimed white man, his mom died or whatever the case may be, does his face become black? So like the logic that you're giving is not logic either, right? You know what I'm saying? Because you're in mourning, your face do not literally turn black. Like you're not even saying it as if it's what do you call it? Like just saying it, using it as a reference to how they feel. But you're literally saying, hey, when you're in mourning, your face turns black. So when someone's in mourning, they face turn black. So glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakal Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Salutations to the Akim and the Four Winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking their lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you, sister, you Akwathium, listen and learn on your husband or your spiritual leader in meekness and in silence. Yeah, Shalom. Yeah. It's your brother Ram Yahweh with the lesson. And I'm gonna just do this real quick. The devil vocab is still, he had his thing, but the men of the Lord are at their thing, So it says Genesis 25, right? Because he goes into this whole thing about the Jeremiah 14:2 don't mean black. So I'm gonna work it backwards, right? So it says, and these are the names of the sons of Ishmael by their name according to their what generations, right? Because each one was born in a different time period in their time period, and then of course they have children, and their children have children, and that's basically within their generations. And then after the third and fourth generation, what you come back, right? Or whenever generation the Lord decide for you to be regenerated or reincarnated back into this world. It says the firstborn of Ishmael is Nebajoth, and what? Kedar, right? And that's the name I want you to remember. And really, it should. There's no E in Hebrew, so it should have been an A, Quadar, right? And Ababel and Mitsam, Mibsam, right? So the name I want you to remember is Quadar, right? Matter of fact, let's even go into this real quick. It's Quadar right there.
Strong's H 6938. Kedar. Kedar.
Now remind you that the name is already supposed to be Hebrew. So how did you get a Q and an E when it was already Quadar, right? Let's see what's going to this so-called dark. Oh, see, they try to go dusky of the skin of the son of Ishmael. Okay, dusky, which really actually it should be a dark skin, like a dark skin, because he was that's what it means. It means to be black, like black skin, dark skin, right? Let's go into it, because this is how the devil play these games, right? Yeah, so we go right here in Google, kind of like Apostles' Heart said. We don't own Google, remember? And then we don't own this, right? Right, we're some unlearned people, right? So-called dusky skin, which this lady already looks like she's either Middle Eastern or East Indian, you know, right? And look how the skin tone is going, which basically Jeremiah 14:2 says that's how we describe it. From the dust of the ground to deeper the soil you go, the darker the soil. It says the ground, I mean, as black as the ground, right? And that would definitely go as black as the ground, dusky. See, because they could have just said dark skin. But okay, we'll roll with your dusky and look up what dusky skin is. Types. So dusky skin classification for a skin type that is darker than fair. It's not a white person, right? We don't even need to say no more. Yeah, I think we proved our case, right? So that's Kadar, right? It's dark skin that's not even close to being fair skin. What they call white people skin, which I don't even know how they come up with that fair because that's like another way of like being beautiful or something like that, to say that they're fair skinned. But okay, because we know that's talking about white people. So it's not so-called self-proclaimed white people skin, which you wouldn't call this. It'd be more like pink. You know what I'm saying? It's not fair skin. It's dark skin. It's not pink, and you know. But yeah, work this way backwards. So this is a Song of Solomon 1. It says, I am black, but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, right? Which is basically talking about the entire nation of Israel, of Jerusalem, right? Of Israel, right? Because a lot of times it says daughter, but sometimes it's talking about the men, right? Because the Lord said he likened the Israel into a comely and delicate woman, right? So it's really just talking about the whole tribe of the whole nation of Israel. Ye daughters of Jerusalem as the tents of Kedar. Now you just seen what Kedar is. They put dusky. Now we're telling you that the Israelites are many shades of brown. That's what we've been saying. So this is pretty much what even Solomon's saying. He said, hey, you daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar. You're the ones that dusky skin, right? As the curtains of Solomon, right? And you go into the curtains of Solomon. Matter of fact, it's in the, here we go, right? The Song of Solomon, tents of Kedar. Look at those tents that they make. So that's black on top. You still have a little bit of brown right here. These are how these tents are done. They're right. Here's one too, like a black color. Here's one right behind it, like a brown, many shades of brown, right? Right, here you go. Right? Right? Here, Wisdom of Solomon 1 and 5. Right here, I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon, right? Same joint, just to give you this right here. Right? Because Kedar, dark, same thing. See if it's still say, yeah, dusky skin, many shades of brown, right? Right, from a light brown to a dark brown, right? Still saying the same thing, right? Oops. I went out too far. Black, which is Shakur, like Tupac Shakur.
Strong's H, 7838, Shahor. And second entry, Shahor.
Yeah, Shakur. It's basically Shakur, right? Shakur is black. What? Shakur's black, but Shakur's also what? Dusky. See what this goes into the root. There you go. Go into the root. To be black of skin. Right? That's the root of Shakur. The deeper meaning. But then even before you went into the deeper meaning, they told you that Shakur is still dusky, which be going to that dusky skin from a light brown to a dark brown, right? So we're not making this up, right? At Jeremiah 14:2. So we worked it backwards just to kind of show you, just roll you through those steps, just to show you that we're talking about a light brown to a dark brown, right? And even in some cases they may look white, especially when you're dealing with Ephraim. But even when you deal with the southern kingdom, there's some Jakes. Hey, I'm one of them. When I was a baby, I was freaking completely pale skin, right? So says Jeremiah 14:2, Judah mourneth, right? They're crying, mourning, right? And the gates thereof languished. You know, the leadership is languishing, but not anymore, since the Lord raised up Abel-Bibbins, raised up King Masha, High Priest Ariah, and all these other the great men that was before our apostles, that raised them up to be great men, and now they're raising great men, right? So this is that thing. This is that time, right? But now we got leadership. They are black. And these people, they're black. Unto the ground, many shades of brown. Quadar, dusky skin, right? And the cries of Jerusalem, which is at this time, I think it was mostly, no, the whole kingdom was there, right? Because this is talking about Jeremiah. So I don't think the northern kingdom got sent away yet. But I think they were separated at this time, though, right? During time Jeremiah's time. So there was still a southern kingdom and a northern kingdom. But yet and still, he's still talking about all 12 tribes. But the cries of Jerusalem, all 12 tribes, is going up, right? So let's see what we got right here. All right, still the same verse. All right, just so you know. Right there, Quadar. To mourn, like now all of a sudden Quadar means something different. But this is the trick and the psychological thing to the devil. Quadar, to be dark, to darken, mourn, to grow dark. Well, it just said Quadar was dusky. Now all of a sudden they changed the definition. Mourn, black, dark, darkish, darken, heavily, right? Let's see what it says. Dark colored, mourn, sackcloth, blackish, be made darken, heavily, to cause to mourn, right? That's not what Kedar means, right? Because they've already showed you what Kedar means, and I showed you in two different passages what Kadar actually means. So how did it all of a sudden get a different definition? Let's see if it got a root. Let's see. Nope, all of a sudden there's no root. Right? And all of a sudden, Kadar, because that's basically what Vocab is going to do. He's going to go in there and say, Kadar, this is what it means. It means to mourn. See how it is? It means morning. But I just showed you in two different, it came up as dusky. Didn't come up as morning. Right? But let's see if we can go back out. Let's see. Let's tap it in. No, wait, we already did the black. Okay. We did that. Oh, morning. Because it said black means morning. So let's see what it says. This. So in their definition, black was morning all of a sudden because it went from being dusky or dark of skin, right, or dusky skin, to now Kadar means it means to mourn. It just changed its whole definition. It means to mourn now, right? But these are the things of the devil. That's why Apostle Hart said this thing. The blue letter it's on, but then it's off sometimes. So you got to know when it's off, right? Through the Spirit, and hopefully, the things that Apostle Hart edifies us, that he teaches us. This is mourning, actually real mourning, like lamentation, mourning, lamentate. You know what I'm saying? You mean? That's actual mourning. Right? Nowhere in there is black. Nowhere. You don't say, there's nothing in there that says black. Not even in this thing right here. Nothing says black. You know what I mean? So these are the trickeries of the devil, right? But we can foresee that we already seen what Kadar mean, which means dusky skin. So knowing what we know, and we went into Google. Google in itself said dusky skin is what? From a light dark unto a dark brown. From a light brown to a dark brown. Right? So it says, let's read this again. Jeremiah 14:2. Judah mourneth, at the gates thereof they languish. They are black unto the ground. So when you go into when you go into what the whole meaning of Kadar, when it said it said black was Kadar or dusky. It said, oh, matter of fact, both. It said it was, and it said it was dusky. When we typed in and hit black, it said dusky skin. So now black, all of a sudden, it only means something else. It only means what they wanted to mean when they wanted to mean a certain thing. But we seen that black means dusky skin unto the ground, and the cries of Jerusalem go up. Right? So, with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who were well. Salutations to the Akim and the Four Winds, preaching the truth and sincerity. risking your lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, Shalom. To you Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband or your spiritual leader in meekness and in silence. Shalom.